Greetings, friends around the world. This is Dr. Bob Thiel for the Bible News Prophecy channel. I want to talk about blockchain, Karl Guttenberg, and 666. Blockchain? You heard about that? Things like Bitcoin? Originally considered somewhat of a fringe item. We actually had, in November of 2017, American Express launching a new blockchain-based business using a place called Ripple. I'll read something from Reuters. American Express has introduced instant blockchain-based payments using Ripple, a fintech startup for U.S. corporate customers, sending funds to the UK. This marks one of the first major uses of blockchain, a shared database of transactions maintained by a network of computers on the internet that is best known as the system underpinning Bitcoin. Now, blockchain technology is something that I've warned for some time could possibly be used by the beast. Yes, the beast of the Bible, 666. Now, I don't believe, and I never have believed, that Bitcoin itself would be it. However, some other things associated with this I want to comment about. Former economics minister and former defense minister of Germany, Baron Karl Guttenberg, was appointed on the advisory board of Ripple, same Ripple that American Express is making this deal with several years ago. He made some comments this spring about this kind of thing. He said, "I always tell the dreamers in the Bitcoin community and the blockchain community, don't expect this is going to happen at one point and everyone's enlightened. It'll be a bumpy process." So what Karl Guttenberg is saying is it's going to be a while before people get more acceptance of this blockchain technology. But we're starting to see it. He says that people need to deliver the experiences from test runs to other governments and back the blockchain industry. What he's advocating actually is that smaller nations such as Estonia or Singapore, or maybe a small section of Switzerland, or maybe the U.S. state of Delaware, start to use blockchain for more financial transactions. He says it doesn't happen by itself, and we're delighted to be at the intersection. So what he's saying is that he wants this to happen. He's going to help make it happen. He believes the company Ripple, plus his own expertise and political influence, may help do this. I expect that Karl Guttenberg will encourage Europe to try to take the lead in this and other international matters. Now, while money originally was, well, many places, in the West at least, it was metal. And it was because the metal was worth something. Now we've gotten to the part where we have paper money, electronic money, which isn't worth really anything. Well, blockchain is sort of like that. It's not backed by anything anymore at all. There's just supply and demand. I'm going to read what a blockchain is. I've watched videos about it. I'll read you this definition and tell you what I think its stuff is. A blockchain is a decentralized and distributed digital ledger that is used to record transactions across many computers so that the record cannot be altered retroactively without the alteration of all subsequent blocks and the collusion of the network. Essentially, a blockchain is a piece of data that many feel cannot be altered, but can be permanently tracked. So it's kind of like a computer software program. Now, could it be related to the mark of the beast? Well, Jim Rickards actually hints that it could be. He said interest in Bitcoin is red hot at this moment. Bitcoin prices have gone way up. He says this hysteria of crypto technology is distracting you from a scary truth no one's talking about. There's every indication that governments, regulators, tax authorities, and the global elite are moving in for the crypto kill. The future of Bitcoin may be a dystopia in which Big Brother controls what's called the blockchain and decides when and how you can buy and sell anything and everything. Furthermore, he says, cryptocurrency technology could be the very mechanism used by the global elites to replace the dollar-based financial systems. Governments have been watching blockchain technology develop and grow outside their control. Governments don't like competition, especially when it comes to money. Governments know they can't stop the blockchain. In fact, they don't want to. What they want to do is control it, using the powers of regulation, taxation, investigation, ultimately more coercive powers, including arrest and imprisonment of individuals who refuse to obey government mandates in regards to blockchain. Blockchain does not exist in ether, despite the name of the cryptocurrencies. and it does not reside on Mars. Blockchain depends on critical infrastructure, including servers, telecommunication networks, the banking system, the power grid, all of which are subject to government control. So his idea about Big Brother controlling this, be able to control buying and selling, certainly sounds like certain scriptures. But about 4 years ago, I wrote, "There's no way governments will intentionally allow a system that gets around all their financial espionage." China's starting to publicly state that, and the government of the USA has begun to try to figure out how to handle Bitcoin. Now, by the way, I've never owned any Bitcoins. I don't have anything to do with it in that respect. But it is getting something that the global elites are watching. I want to read something from the IMF, the International Monetary Fund. And this is a report they had dated June 2017 about blockchain. Distributed ledger technology, in particular, could spur a change in the financial sector. It can be categorized as permissionless and permissioned, depending on who can participate. Permissionless digital ledger technology allows anyone to read and transact and participate in the process. These open schemes that underline Bitcoin, for example, could be very disruptive if successfully implemented. So they don't like the idea with Bitcoin that they don't have the kind of control they want. By contrast, in permissioned distributed ledger technologies, the validation process is controlled by a pre-selected group of participants, a consortium, or managed by one organization, and thus serve as a more common communication platform. So basically what they're saying is we want a type that can be controlled so we can control buying and selling. Now, Doug Casey alluded to Revelation 13, 16 to 18, which I'll read a little bit, when he was talking about blockchain technology. He says, blockchain technology that Bitcoin is based on, blockchain technology where every transaction can be tracked from the creation. He says the government's going to use blockchain technology which makes it totally trackable, unlike dollars today. And it's going to be sold as a safety thing because blockchain is much harder to hack than conventional digital technology. I mentioned the beast at the beginning of this. I want to read from the Bible, Book of Daniel, chapter 11, verse 24. This is talking about the beast, the king of the north, 666 power. He shall enter peaceably, even into the richest places of the province, and he shall do what his fathers have not done, nor his forefathers. To stop there on this, this leader is going to enter peaceably. He's going to say he's doing stuff for safety, just like Doug Casey was referring to this. Years ago, somebody commented about Bitcoin. He says, if I'm allowed to get biblical, rich man and poor man, free and bound, will not be allowed to buy or sell unless he accepts the mark of the beast. And this person said that Bitcoin was a very smooth end run to get objective. Or something else, whether it's digital currencies and or blockchain technology, or perhaps a combination thereof. Some have considered this to be the mark of the beast. Now, I find it interesting that Guttenberg has been involved in this. I'd like to read something from the book of Daniel chapter 8, starting verse 23. It says, in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors have reached their fullness, a king shall arise, having fierce features, who understands sinister schemes. And I'm not going to go through all the other scriptures associated with that, but we see in the time of the end, a leader is going to rise up who understands sinister schemes. Well, a sinister scheme that people have wondered about, who've read the Bible, the book of Revelation, is the control of buying and selling. Now, this may or not involve things such as Blockcoin, which places like Ripple, American Express, Karl Guttenberg, and others are involved with. But let's go to Revelation chapter 13 and start reading in verse 16. It says, he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand and on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark of the name, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it's the number of a man. His number is 666. The Bible is clear that the time is going to come when buying and selling will be able to be controlled. One thing I read a couple of months ago about blockchain technology is maybe governments could use this in order to give people money for particular purposes. So you can only buy this or only buy that. But what if they do that for everything? What if they decide, hey, we have a way we can control everything everybody buys and sells? Now, when the Apostle John saw this revelation and was told to write it nearly 2,000 years ago, there was no ability to control buying and selling. You could go out in the woods, easily trade, let's say, a piece of meat for a fur or for a pearl or whatever it is that people did, or coins or whatever. But now, there is a way in order to control buying and selling. Does it have to be blockchain? No. But various types of electronic or digital currency is essentially guaranteed to be something that the beast is going to use. The 666 power is going to be able to control buying and selling. Technologies such as blockchain and Bitcoin fit into there. We're seeing prophecies fulfilled right before our eyes. We're getting closer and closer to the time of the Great Tribulation and the rise of the Antichrist and the King of the North that the Bible warns about. Seeing the growth of technologies such as blockchain and electronic payments shows that we are getting to the time the Apostle John wrote about nearly 2,000 years. As Jesus said in Mark 13, verse 37, what I say to you all, watch. Watch what's going on now. The world that we see is not going to continue the way it has been. The control of buying and selling will happen, and we're seeing things happening over in Europe that are consistent with this. This is Dr. Bob Thiel for the Bible News Prophecy Channel.